Hello YouTube, it's Lion here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today we are doing another light novel review. This is the second video today on Saturday. Earlier I did another light novel review, and later today I'm going to do another Gunpla video, so, check those out if you want to, and yeah, stick around for the video. Now, today we're going to be reviewing How Not to Summon a Demon Lord Volume 1, the light novel, not the manga, and this is written by Yukiya Murasaki and illustrated by Takahiro Tsurusaki. I think that's how you say it. This is published by J Novel Club, and the genres here are fantasy, isekai, harem, and comedy. It's not really a romantic comedy. I mean, there is romance there, but the comedy, romantic comedy, at least in Japanese media, kind of defines a sort of like will they, won't they kind of thing where like there's a lot of confusion. I don't think this really fits that, so it's just general comedy. And adaptations wise, this does have both a manga and an anime series, and that's actually how I got into this series. I watched the anime, the first season, when it came out on Hulu a couple years ago, and I really enjoyed it. And kind of, this along with Danmachi and My Hero Academia was kind of like the stuff that got me back into anime after a long time of not watching any. Like in the later parts of my high school years, I stopped watching anime, and this was one of the things that got me back into it when I got into college. I think it was in my second year, yeah, because I was living at my apartment. So, yeah, which was 2 years ago, I guess. But, yeah, so the premise here is basically that this neat gamer by the name of Takuma Sakamoto, I think is his last name, gets sent to the world of Cross Rivery, which is this video game that he plays a lot, and he gets reincarnated or sent into this world, summoned into this world as Diablo, his in-world character in Cross Rivery. And then basically those that summoned him, which we really aren't sure who it was, whether it was Rem, the cat girl, or Shira, the elf, kind of fumble the ball and don't expect Diablo to have these magical abilities that basically make any magic bounce off of him and affect the other person, or the original caster. And so now, instead of him belonging to them, they belong to him. And now, basically, Diablo, or Takuma, basically the whole novel he's called Diablo, so we're just going to call him that, has to survive his new life in this world with the knowledge he had of the video game. And it's really enjoyable. I mean, it's not out of this world. And this is definitely a title you read more because it's like funny and etchy than it is because it's a good story, if that makes sense. Not a guilty pleasure because, if you enjoy it, it shouldn't be guilty. Well, I mean, in general, I guess that's a fair kind of thing to say, but this is definitely in that kind of category where a lot of people would just say like, yeah, I really enjoyed this, but I don't want to admit it. And, that's okay, but it definitely fits in that category. So the plotline here is not bad. It's pretty basic in general. It's a very introductory kind of general book about like, hey, let's get isekai, and then we're going to meet the girls that are going to be our companions. We're going to develop the relationship a little bit, sign up to be an adventurer, and then go on a few quests, and then have that big climactic battle at the end before the beginning of the, actual proper story. And that's basically all that happens in this book. But I really enjoyed it. The battles were pretty good in general. It wasn't like they were amazing because, Diablo is like OP as hell, but it was enjoyable. And a lot of it was really interesting because it was centered around like, okay, how the hell am I going to do this in such a way that I can learn about how this world works compared to the video game without killing myself? And I thought that was really good. It was really nicely done. I really enjoyed it. It added a little bit of intelligence to the fight, even though he is OP, which is really wonderful. Because, at that point, if you're so OP, basically like Superman, the fights aren't necessarily about how you beat your opponent, or like how you're going to be able to beat your opponent, but instead how you are going to go about beating them, if that makes sense. Like, there's a very fine distinction there, but it's the difference between Asta beating someone that has magic versus Naruto just Rasenganing, the fuck out of everyone. which is, pretty interesting. It adds a lot of intelligent, like, strategic planning to the storyline and to the battles that I quite enjoy, and it was good. Now, I really enjoyed a lot of the plot in here because a lot of it was politically generated. Like, it wasn't like stupid crap that just had to happen because the author made it. So it felt very, like, maybe not realistic, but it felt really logical how things kind of came up and kind of had to be dealt with. And I really enjoyed that. This is by no means the best writing, but it is good enough to keep you entertained in the parts where, like, stuff has to happen before you can get to the funny bits or the, ecchi stuff. So it's good stuff there. The characters, are really fun. I really like all of them, although there's also points where they're a little bit annoying, but it's not like bad annoying. It's just like, okay, I get it. You're that archetype. Can we move on from that? If that kind of makes sense. So the main three characters are Diablo, Rem, and Shira. And then there's a bunch of side characters that aren't really all that important, but are kind of there for comedy. So the first character is Diablo, and essentially he is an OP main character. He is from another world, and basically he has so much social anxiety that the only way that he can make it through conversations is by adopting this persona of this megalomaniac, kind of OP evil ruler guy, which is his Diablo character. And it's really funny. I really enjoy that aspect because, like, he like, in his mind, he's like, crap, what I do. And then he's like, okay, I should do this. And then he opens his mouth and it's completely different from what he said, but it still gets the same point across in just like a really mean kind of like, I'm a bad guy way, if that makes sense. It's really funny and I really enjoyed it. Now, the second character is Rem. She's a little cat girl. She has a kind of like dark past, and there's something around her that you have to learn about as the story progresses. And, she's really plot crucial, at least for the first arc, I think. If I remember correctly, I think it is just for the first arc. I'm not really sure what happens afterwards. But, yeah, she's definitely a kudere character, which is, the characters that are very, like, unexpressive. I think that's the right term. And the third character is Shira. She's an elf, and she's the princess of the elf kingdom. And she's like really, really ditzy, but very earnest as an individual. And I actually quite enjoy her because she's pretty funny. She's by far the most ecchi character in this story. But I just like how, earnest she is and how she wants to be able to stand on her own and do her own thing. But it's very difficult for her because, one, she's kind of stupid, and two, people don't let her because she's the princess of this kingdom and she has a duty to them, just based on her birth, which is kind of sucky. But I really enjoy the character and the way that all the characters end up realizing, hey, we're like really different and we really wouldn't mesh otherwise, but we're kind of stuck in this together and we can make it work because, we can empathize with each other and figure out, good things about each other to, kind of work with, I guess. But it was really good. I really enjoyed it. There's a bunch of side characters as well. There's Ethengorold, I think, which is the main demon that we kind of interact with in the story. There's Celestine Blaudery, I think is her name, who is the archmage or the biggest, most powerful magic user in the town. There's Emil, who is a knight character, and he like takes that whole chivalry thing to another level. He's like basically like, ho ho, I will never let myself surrender in front of women, and it's like really stupid, but I really enjoy it because it's ridiculous. And then there's like some bad characters that are like mean, like Gallic, I think is his name. It's this character that really hates demi-humans, which is basically everyone except humans. And he kind of comes off really badly, and I really don't like him because he's basically like, a country hick that's like a really racist person. And it's just kind of funny, but it's really annoying. And I don't really like him as a character, but, he gets his just desserts, so it's fine. Now, Yeah, world building wise, enjoyable. It's very general. It's very Eurocentric, RPG styled. Basically, there's general stuff about how humans are the superior race. Demi-humans or anyone that's not naturally human is honestly going to be lower, just because, you know, that's always a thing in Western fantasy. And then there's the monsters and the demons and the general, like, bad guys. And there's magic and martial arts, you know, HEMA type of stuff, like spear fighting, sword fighting, that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's good, but it's not really groundbreaking. The good thing here is that there's a lot of lore and a lot of explanation of game mechanics that I thought was really cool. It's not really refreshing because I at this point I've read a lot of different game element stories that really kind of like talk about it. But this one is enjoyable because it lets you kind of like see how a pro gamer thinks, more or less, because Diablo is like analyzing the way that these people use the skills, and if he knows your class, he knows your general skill set and how you're going to use it, and he can kind of predict movements because, like, okay, yeah, he's a knight, he's going to have to use a sword dash, and then he's going to try to slash at me so he can get out of the way. It's really cool. It kind of builds up that whole thing that I was talking about earlier with the intelligence in battle. I thought it was really good. Now, the art here is very nice. It's very good. It's kind of odd. I'm not going to lie. The proportions of the face to body sometimes kind of don't really fit. But in general, it's very nicely done. It's very good art, obviously, because it's an ecchi series. And you can't have an ecchi series with bad art because then it's not, like, enjoyable, if that makes sense. And literally, I think every single visual that we got, or every single illustration, is of a girl character, like a female character, instead of a, you know, action scene or anything like that. So it's definitely an ecchi series, and it doesn't shy away from that. Fan service wise, like I said, it's an ecchi series, so there's a lot of it. There's definitely things that are more adult here. I wouldn't say that this is not like viable if you're like 16. But I would prefer, like, just to be safe, to say this is an 18 plus title and strictly keep it at that, because it does kind of get a little bit more raunchy than your usual light novel. Now, rating wise, this is a 3 out of 5. It's not bad. It's not amazing, but it was really enjoyable regardless. It was a really nice way to you know, kill some time. And, you know, overall I enjoyed it, so I can't really knock it down too much. But there was nothing here that really amazed me in any way, so a 3 out of 5 seems like a fair score to me. Now, that was it for the review. Recommendations-wise, I think this is a fun title. If you enjoy ecchi fantasy stuff, this is definitely the way to go. It's really cool. It's enjoyable. The characters are not bad, so, you know, enjoy it. Similar titles, though, I don't know. I've not actually read any light novel series that was fantasy based that was like overtly ecchi. I mean, there's like some stuff in Overlord that's kind of similar to this, so I guess in that sense you could say Overlord is a good title, or something like Their Werewolf. But neither of those two series really dive into the ecchi like this one does. So in terms of world building and character development, they're kind of similar. It's like a good guy put in the body of a bad guy and has to find a way to, you know, make it work. But the core of this novel is really the ecchi stuff, and I don't know any other that really fits that. So I hope that helped, I guess. But yeah, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Help me reach 400 subscribers this month. We're at 375 as of last time I checked. And it would be really awesome if you guys could help me reach those 400 subscribers. So, yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys later.